Hey. Ah, what's wrong, Liz?
So, okay, I just got to say it because now we're live. This light shows my fake tooth really strongly.
Well, I can't see it from here. You just ratted yourself out because the resolution is
never known.
Yeah.
Now you know, but now you have to try and figure out which one was the fake one.
Yeah.
Right? When you see me.
We are live. Yeah. Smart Business Moves. I'm Stuart here, and Liz has introduced herself. And we had Curt on last week, and we got into the 55-minute mark, and it's like we're not even scratching the surface. So, we were able to squeeze in another hour of his time. So we'll see how we do today. And heck, I don't know. He might be a weekly guest from here on out. We'll just need to wait and see.
We wish, but I have a feeling Curt might be a little bit too busy for that time.
Well, I'd love to be on as often as you'll have me.
Curt, I have a question. Do you have a stand-up desk?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Are you standing at it?
I am.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I love his stand-up desk. So jealous.
The problem is I can walk around so much in this little narrow screen. It's easy just to oh, shoot, I'm off camera.
Well, we may have some options. How about that?
Oh, that's cool.
Now you can walk a little bit more.
Now I've got my room.
And now I have to shut my door.
Well, we got Bridget here, and Liz, and Rosemary, and Sarah. Sarah, is treating me like a celebrity. It's Curt.
Sarah does love you. Yep. Oh, Bridget. Hey, Bridget. Oh, and Liz, she was on late yesterday. Glad to see you early today, Liz. Hey, Rosemary. Rosemary's going to be on the show in a couple of upcoming weeks here too. So just saying. What
does Rosemary do?
So she owns a residential cleaning company, and she's going to be talking about vehicles. Having them, not having them, going back, what's the best decision, why, how to care for them, all that different type of stuff.
Cool.
So before we get too deep into this and forget to do the obligatory what's up for the rest of the week, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way now. If you weren't with us yesterday, Marty Paris kind of gave us a chemistry lesson on how to take salt and water and apply some electricity to it and make on-site generation cleaning products, including hypochlorous acid, which is a really interesting way to disinfect and sanitize in a COVID-19 world. It's a lot safer, and a lot of other options that are out there, especially if you're misting. And if you missed that show and long for your high school chemistry class, go back and watch what we did yesterday. Curt's going to rock it out for us here and give us some additional hints, picking up on some of the thoughts that we touched upon last week on basically how to take prospects and maximize our return off of them. Hey, Ken's coming back tomorrow. We're going to be talking about solo strategies. Any details as to what we're going to be doing with Ken tomorrow, Liz?
I don't. We did talk about something on our call. We did talk about something specific, similar to what we did with Curt. We defined it before we got off the call, but I can't remember right now. I will go back and look though.
But Ken will know, and it's going to be good.
He will know.
Good stuff, and he looks at the residential cleaning industry from a perspective that's unique to a lot of us, and there's a tremendous amount to be learned from that. And if you missed him last week, do yourself a favor and make sure. I would go back and watch last week, and certainly make sure that you're here tomorrow to ask questions. And then our favorite day of the week, Thursday, we've got a secret guest coming to On the Spot, and we have a hint.
Well, and because today is Tuesday, we're going to do 2 hints. And she works in a family-owned business in a very hot part of the country. So 3 clues.
Oh, why don't you just go ahead and just tell everybody who it is, Liz?
Maybe tomorrow, Tom. You don't know. You don't know, Tom. I might.
Arrow.
just crazy. Throw caution to the wind here.
Well, we didn't get one out there yesterday. Did I feel guilty? A little bit. Not too bad. Hey, Leslie.
Leslie's back in the house.
So I'm excited, Kurt. It's always, we were talking about a book that Tom recently read. He recommended it to me. And then we were talking about some of the strategies in the book. We were like, this is Curt Kempton all over the place, man. So you need to read this book too. What's the name of it again, Tom?
Range?
Yeah.
Range by
Oh, you must have talked before I got on the call.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
I already wrote it down on my paper.
that, though. You shouldn't have said anything about that. You shouldn't have looked down at your desk because that's what gave it away. You would, if you would have just said range.
This
You know
guy.
what? I had a lot of people tell me about that.
Yeah. Let me tell you who wrote it.
Mind blown. You would have had me there, Kurt.
But
Yeah.
that's for the whole discussion of, David Epstein. No, it's not Jeffrey Epstein. It's David Epstein.
I got you.
Yeah.
No wonder
I'm
it
like,
sounded
I hope this book doesn't teach me anything bad. He's like, no, different person.
All right, y'all. If you haven't read it, you just heard us talking about a really cool book, Range, and might be interesting for those of you that are big readers, avid readers out there. I know there's quite a few of them. It's not on the book list though, Sarah, so don't go buy it. I just filled in book. So we're in a book club together, and I just filled in all the books for the rest of the year, Sarah. So go check it out.
Wow.
All right.
Book clubs and podcasts and Facebook
the
Lives.
stuff.
Mastermind accountability groups.
Yeah, actually, the book talk is in the Mastermind Accountability Group.
We
It's
clean homes. Too. We clean homes. We do
What's
clean homes. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
How do we do all this?
We do clean too. Yeah, we're kind of amazing. That's it. Residential cleaning owners, people just don't, residential cleaning business owners. Residential cleaning owners sounded really bad. That's not nice. Yeah. All right. So let's talk sales.
All right.
I'm excited. I like your shirt. I like your shirt, Kurt.
Oh, yeah.
I like it a lot.
I only have one brand of shirt. My kids give me a hard time that I only have one brand of shirts that I wear. They come from Responsibid. But I will say, I do wear a white button-up shirt to church every Sunday. We've been having church at home, so I wear it to my home church every Sunday. But
Do you really?
that's the two brands I wear. Yeah.
You dress. That's cool.
I do like that, actually, Kurt. I like that a lot. Does your whole family dress for church?
Yeah, we're very well. By nature of being in my family, everyone in my family is very regimented. I suppose if I left for a week, I probably wouldn't recognize what I came home to. But I like things. I drink the same smoothie every morning. I go on the same walk every morning. I do eat lunch at the same time.
Yeah.
Although usually lunch doesn't actually happen. But anyway, same clothes every day. Yeah, I love regimented.
All right. That I think I've seen a bit of that in your work. So that makes sense. That fits with what I've seen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Well, I mean, they say that systems is just about, regiment. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I believe it. I do. Today we had titled the fact that we're going to be talking about 3 ways to close more jobs at higher prices. And guys, I wanted to go over 3 different things, but I wanted to talk to you guys just a little bit. And I'm curious, is there any way to poll the audience about the way they feel about something? Is there any way to get that? Or just ask in the comments, I guess?
Yeah, it would just be anecdotal. There's no app in this to do it.
Yeah.
But, just get everybody to kind of post their thoughts.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if people can throw this in the comments. I wanted to start off by I know last time I asked about how people feel about salespeople, and someone put in there icky. I'm wondering if anybody who's listening right now could just throw in the comment section, do you view yourself as a salesperson? So yes or no. And then behind that is, how do you feel about salespeople? And I think that some people are going to just listen and say, well, I'll just tell myself what I think and I'll just listen to it. But if you could write it out, that would help me a ton, because the first thing I want to talk about is very much a mindset that will lead to the next two things. So if anyone listening can just say, do you view yourself as a salesperson, comma, how do you feel about salespeople?
All right. Well, I can't put in my comments, but I'm going to write it in because I keep notes whenever I'm on a Facebook Live. So I'm doing it. All right.
All right.
But you can't see it. You want me to show you what I write?
Yeah. Let's hear what you write.
I'll write it on a Post-it instead, a very large one.
Sarah has already said, no, she doesn't view herself as a salesperson. She views them as high pressure. Leslie says, yes, and typically not a fan of others. That is probably, if I would have written mine out, Leslie's would have been the one I wrote down. Starling says, no, yuck. Paula says, no, pushy.
Oh.
And Bridget says, no, pressured to buy from them.
So I'm trying to think of the word that I want.
This is exactly kind of what this is like my people. This is how I feel.
All right. Here's mine.
All right. Let's see here. Yes. Persuasion. Okay. So, well, Paula said pushy and Sarah said high pressure. Do you feel like persuasion is more towards high pressure and pushy, or more
not persuasion, persuasive? I feel like they're persuasive. I feel like they're good at persuading you to do things and to figure out how to help you.
Okay.
And helpful. I probably could have said persuasive and helpful.
Okay. Liz Day says, with the right script and training, dirty.
Oh.
Wow. All right. Well, if anyone else wants to throw in the comments, I will be happy to acknowledge any of those and talk about it, because the very first concept I want to talk about is that I started my cleaning company and felt the exact same way, is that I felt like I can't be a salesperson because salespeople are dirty, pushy, yucky, high pressure. I like all this, and I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. And yet, if I really thought hard about it, there are lots of times that I've interacted with salespeople where I was like, that was a good experience. Like even think to like a good waiter or waitress, server in a restaurant you've had, where you're like, that was a great server, but they're incentivized to sell you the most expensive thing on the menu. And, even them to a degree as a salesperson, but like, if you're especially buying something you don't know a lot about, a good salesperson can be critical. But I think that the most interesting thing is that the common thread is that basically everyone said that they don't view themselves as a salesperson. Leslie is the one that said straight up yes. And I believe that as entrepreneurs, the first principle I want to teach you is that while you may not like the title salesperson, I think that if you thought long and hard about it, if you turned your sales off, or you didn't do it, or maybe you didn't hire people to do it, you're not going to eat much longer, and life is not very fun when you're not eating. So just with that in mind, I want to talk about the difference between a snake oil salesman and a doctor, a real legitimate doctor. The first thing that comes to my mind is, have you guys seen those commercials on TV about medicines of different sorts that
the ones with all the names?
Yeah. Well, first it's completely unintelligible by a normal English speaking person.
Yes.
But then they go on and they tell you all about why you should take it and how your life is miserable, but if you took it, it wouldn't be so miserable. And then there's the thing at the end. What do they do at the end of those commercials?
Try to scare the bejeebies out of you.
Yeah. You think they want to do that? They don't want to.
No.
That's they're forced to basically tell you everything bad that could happen to you if you do take this medicine, which sometimes you're wondering, suicidal thoughts and tendencies. You know what? Maybe I'll just stick with the ailment that I have right now. That's not so bad.
But they make the print as small as they can. They make the print as small as they can, and they say it as fast as they're legally allowed to.
Like an auctioneer. They're like, hey, auctioneer, you want to be in a commercial?
There used to be a funny commercial about that, where the guy, that fast talking guy, did that as a joke. It was a spoof. It was very funny. Yeah.
See, and to me, I feel like that's sort of where the medicine companies are dying for you to buy their medicine, but they're forced to tell you the other side of the coin. And so they spend X amount of the commercial painting the picture, and then like reality sets in and they can't really get away from it. But that's sort of, I think, how snake oil salesmen used to operate, is cut off the end. And do you have a problem? I don't care what that problem is. Here's your solution, right? Yeah. Yeah. Do you sometimes wake up tired? Do you sometimes?
Oh my gosh, you would be so good.
Do you sometimes find that when you eat too much food, your stomach hurts? Have you ever found that your hair grows longer than you would like it to be? Like they just start laying all these things like,
that's me. That's me.
Yeah, that's me. When things are really far away, are they hard to see? Oh my gosh, sell me your thing right now. And I think that's where the negative association with salespeople comes in, is that when your interests are more in mind as the person selling than the person you're selling to, I feel like that's where the coin flips. A doctor, he knows he's going to get $500 for the 15 minutes that you're sitting there, regardless of what happens. And he's got 6 months worth of people booked to come and do that all day with him or her. And so when they sit down with you, a good doctor is going to just sit there and say, tell me what's going on. Where's your pain? Where does it hurt? Does it hurt when I do this? Does it hurt when I do that? Let's get an x-ray and check that out. Or let's understand this better. And I think that difference is, in that moment, the doctor cares more about you than their own interests. And whenever you think back to a time you had a negative experience with a salesperson, it was because they wanted to sell you as much as possible so they could get the highest commission possible. Or they wanted to sell you something quickly so they could get to the next sale quickly. Or they made you feel dumb or inferior in order to make themselves feel more powerful in that moment, and for their own purposes. So the first principle that I want to talk about as far as closing more jobs at higher prices is that when the buyer, especially buyers today who have so many options before them, it's not the old days where, you had 5 options for something and, you had to get to the yellow pages to figure out who was going to get you what. Today, when you have a cell phone in hand and you can just, next, I'm going to just hit someone else next, especially when they try to keep the human out of it as much as possible, which we've seen that being a trend. We talked about that last time. I don't really want to get into that this time, but the psyche of the people buying from you is, I don't need to be treated that way. I'm going to move on anyway. And frankly, the people we are talking to right now, my people, the ones who've said they don't view themselves as salespeople, they don't want to be that person anyway. Yeah. So if that's all true, then can we just embrace the fact that a really good salesperson cares more about the person they're selling to than themselves in that moment? I mean, I get it. We all have basic needs that need to be met, and you do care about yourself probably as much or more than any other. In my case, my wife cares about me more than me, and then I'm in like second place. But beyond that, that's pretty much like the hierarchy there. Mm-hmm. But in the moment of a sale, I feel like a lot of the reasons that people have said they don't view themselves as salespeople probably is that in those sales moments, they care more about the person they're selling to than even the money or whatever they have to gain. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think it's true. And so if we can embrace the fact that we're salespeople, but we're good salespeople, that is going to make the next 2 things that I talk about make a lot more sense. And I think if we come at everything from the angle that you're a doctor. Now, no, you didn't go to school and get your medical degree, and no, you don't probably have to get the insurance that doctors carry. And luckily, you don't have to see the blood that they do, because that would be a no-go for me. But if you can get to the point where they say, I care about those people's problems and I'm going to help them get it solved, then you will close more jobs at higher prices. And the reason is that people will want to do more business with someone who is on their side, and who is looking at the problem shoulder to shoulder, looking forward to the problem as opposed to adversarially. If you're looking across the table with the customer and saying, I'm going to force you to get what I want, and they're kind of coming at you the other way, that's not a really good environment for business to be done with in. So let's start there and let's go to the next part. You're not a snake oil salesperson, you're a doctor. So part 2 is that there has to be something about you that is unshoppable. So that's another fancy way of saying unique selling proposition, the USP. In the comments section, would anybody be comfortable sharing the thing about their business that's unique, or what makes your company unshoppable? And let me just define unshoppable while you're thinking about that. Unshoppable means if I want to buy a computer that has the Mac operating system, I can't shop Apple at a place that just sells regular PCs.
Anywhere else.
Yeah. And that was a choice that they made. They said, if you like our software, you cannot buy another piece of hardware that has our software on it. So that's unshoppable. Let's see here. Sarah says, our own line of natural products. That is unshoppable. If you come to me, Sarah, and you say, we do house cleaning just like everybody else, but this is our natural line of products. The benefits of these products are X, Y, and Z. You can only get these products from our company, cleaning. Guess what? Sarah has a corner on that market. I can't shop her anymore. If I fall in love with those products, it will do me no good to call her competitors. She's unshoppable. Is there another one here, Leslie? So much easier when there's no description. Then we can focus. And can I meet their needs?
Desperation.
Oh, desperation. When there's no desperation. So the thing is that doctors do have one thing. You say, I hurt. And the doctor says, would you like morphine? Does anyone ever say to a doctor, how much will it cost? No one in the history of morphine has ever asked how much morphine would cost, because when it's time for morphine, that's how you know it's right. You don't care how much it costs. And so desperation definitely can play into that. No one in my town uses the same technology to check our work as well as real knowledge of the science behind cleaning. Our tagline is, we use science to clean for health. Wow, that's really cool. That's actually really cool. Now, the trick there is that if you're going to say you use science, that means there's going to be some education behind it, and before it becomes unshoppable. So if you say you use science to clean for health, as a buyer, one thing I need to know is, does everyone have access to the science that you're using, or do you only have access to it? Because that's where uniqueness comes in. But some people might say that bleach in and of itself is very scientific. It's a chemical, made up of a bunch of other atoms and molecules, and we can get it all day long. But if you say we use science to clean for your health in this proprietary way, or we have proprietary things that we do, or knowledge, as she says, that is critical, because now you can say, here's the pulpit we're pounding, sit in my congregation. It's the only place you're going to get this sermon. So there we go. Certifications, as well as protein pins and UV lights, for example. See, this is great. So what I feel like is that taglines are great at getting people's attention. And you'll notice that, like Apple's I used Apple as an example earlier. Theirs was think different. And everybody knows I think a little bit different. I do things differently than other people. But if think different stood alone, it wouldn't really mean much. You have to put things behind the tagline. And I think that Leslie was doing a good job of explaining that. So Liz says, great work, personal touch, great price. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say personal touch, that you got a great pulpit to go there. If you could expand on that. But all of your competitors are already saying that they do great work. So uniqueness, you're going to lose that. Like, everyone has the propaganda. We are great. We are wonderful. We, right? We talked about being all over ourselves before. So we are great at this work. That's not a good idea. We don't want to wee all the way home. But great price, that's a dangerous one, right? Because are you saying we're the lowest price guaranteed? Are you saying we'll meet or beat anyone else's price? That's a dangerous place to play. But I think you're talking about value. I think you're talking about you will get more for your money through maybe some things that are hard to quantify with us through personal touch. So I feel like personal touch, great value, personal touch, the best value. Now we're not trying to play the game with the people who are lower priced. No, 35 to 45 an hour. So Liz, you have a great price for you, and you know it's a good price, but I think that the customer, what they're always buying, every customer, whenever anyone gives you money, there's only one thing happening. Remember this, everyone. If you get one thing out of our meeting today, there's one thing you must always remember. I'm going to look right into the camera for this one. No one ever gives you money unless they believe that what you're giving them is more valuable than the money. They're buying the value. And the moment you forget about cleaning, the moment you forget about that thing you do, cleaning the thing, and remember that they're buying the value, that they feel that the money they have is worth less than the thing you do, that will open your mind up to a whole new world. Think about this with me. If 10 people could come into my house and do the same thing that you do, then I would be an idiot to give anyone more than the cheapest price.
Right.
But if I knew that,
or more.
What's that?
Not even a quarter.
Not even a quarter. Nothing. Yeah. And you would be foolish, right? So here's the thing. If 10 people can come into my home and only one of them can promise me that everyone that comes in my home will be drug tested and background checked and that they are totally safe in my home and they'll always show up on time, I would be foolish to go with any of the other companies if none of them can guarantee me that, because my children sleep in this house. Everything I own basically is here. Everything I've worked my whole life for is here. The house itself is a tribute to all of the work I've done in my life. So to have people come into my home and know that they're tested and drug tested and their safety place, and that I, as the customer, am treated, the value that I'm buying is different. So when we talk about unique selling propositions, you can't have a million. You shouldn't focus on the ones that everyone else has, because then you're wasting all of your time and breath. If you say, we will clean your home great, well, what a waste of the first line, right? Because everyone else just said the same thing.
Curt, when I hear that one, when I hear that line that we clean great, I always think of it in terms of the airlines. I read this somewhere, and that the airlines, that would be akin to the airlines saying, we are safe.
Yeah.
Whew. I hope so.
All right. We will land you at the terminal almost every time.
Yeah, almost. As often as everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one, though, because it does feel like, especially I think for solo cleaners, it does feel like it's a unique selling proposition for them. They just need a different way of saying it, maybe, because maybe a solo cleaner, their high quality or their, the great service that they're offering, it is different. It's different, but just saying those words doesn't get that message across.
Well, let's go back to the airlines for a second, Liz. Mm-hmm. I am extremely loyal to Southwest. I love frugal. I just absolutely love frugal. In fact, one of the reasons I fell in love with my wife is I heard her say one time, waste not, want not. And I was like, poof, that is so hot.
That's my gal right there.
That's my girl.
Right there.
What's that?
Will you marry me? I mean, you proposed it.
Actually, I did come home for my first date. It's another story for another day. But I did come home for my first date and tell my mom I met my wife tonight, and she said, "Do not tell her that." Like,
please, I beg you.
Yeah. Good for you, but please. Shh. So anyway, so I'm loyal to Southwest because I love the frugal feel. I love that I don't have to worry about this reserved seat that I'm gonna have to crawl over someone to get to. I'll just sit wherever I feel like it. I love not having to pay to check a bag. I just think about whatever bags I want to bring. I'll bring them if I want to, and I won't bring them if I don't want to. And I love their whole approach to everything. I love that when they get up there and they're doing the announcements, they know you're not listening, so they're like entertaining. Anyway, the point is that, yeah, they're going to get me to the place, and they do it on a low cost. I do like that, but they're also not trying to like impress me with their uniforms or their plain, accoutrements or whatever. So,
and they're also not the lowest cost.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I love Southwest too.
They're consistently lower cost.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I like that. I don't even shop them anymore because I know they're lowish. And I also know that my wife gets to fly everywhere with me for free because of the way that, when you're loyal to them, they're loyal to you. I like the loyalty. I like that I basically just by using my company card, I never have to pay for a flight. I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff. But it's like that. Nothing that I said in those whole things, nothing is like something that no one else can do. But in some cases, like, for example, luggage, they're the only ones that do that.
Yeah.
And in the case of like some of the other things, like other companies could be entertaining as they're saying things, and maybe they are. I just don't fly on those flights. But they're known for it. Right. It's the pulpit that they pound.
Other airlines try to do it, but it doesn't feel genuine. It's in Southwest DNA because I haven't been on an airplane in a while, but other airlines try to pick up on the whole comedy thing with buckle your seatbelt and that whole thing. Looking at that and you're thinking these guys are trying to be like Southwest. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's true. So to get back to the unique selling propositions, I don't mean to derail too much, but what I want to make sure is that you're not wasting time in your unique selling proposition saying things that your competitors could say. Here's the litmus test. There's 2 tests. The first, can you make a promise to your customers that you're willing to keep, but your competitors would dare never even make it?
Yes.
Because if you can pass test number 1, it's going to be unique. And you don't have to worry about someone coming in behind you, scooping it up. Wow, that was a great idea. Because here's the one that happened. I think this was about 10 years ago. It really came on is the 100% satisfaction guarantee. People start saying, look, what's unique about me. I have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, just like all my other competitors. And it's like, wow, that's very unique. But here's the thing. You're in an industry where people are genuinely, and for the most part, good. Just across the board, you've got like the cutthroat business. If you think you're in a cutthroat business, check out the Fortune 500 companies. Like, you're not in that industry. So by and large, most of your competitors just want their customers to get good, clean service. That's why they're willing to make those promises. It's in their DNA. Like Tom was saying, when someone else makes jokes and it sounds like a Southwest, it's because that sounds like someone else's DNA. Well, in your industry, that's going to be a common thread. But what if I said this? If I don't show up on time, if I am 1 minute late, your cleaning is. How many people went, yes, that's me. I want to make that promise and I want to keep it.
No. Zero desire.
Zero desire. So I just named one that is a unique selling proposition. It's unique.
Yeah.
Now, the great thing about it is that you will find that if you make that promise, it's going to resonate with a lot of customers. You're going to get customers who will pay you more money. You're going to get customers who won't even shop your competition because they're like, wow, that's the company I want to serve me. Like, time is important to me. So unless like, nope, like 4-letter word, nope. So the thing is that the reason that you're not willing to keep that promise is because you know that in reality, you would have to re-engineer everything about the way you put your crews out every day. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'll be out of business in no time. Life is just crazy. There's too many question marks. But if you know that every day has question marks and you hire crews to go out in 2 cars and have at a certain time, one person has to leave that job and go to the next job. Doesn't matter what's going on. Right. And the next person has to come and catch up if necessary. If you re-engineered your company to do that way, you can make that promise, you can make more money, and none of your competitors would copy you because it's a really scary promise to make. Yeah. So that's unique.
You remember, this going back ways, Domino's Pizza used to promise you would get your pizza within 1.5 hour of order or it was free?
Yep.
I don't remember. I remember hearing about it, but I think I might have not been ordering pizzas at the
That
time.
was probably before your time.
You might not have been alive.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
remember
this
well.
goes back a few- this is like in the 80s, I guess, early 80s.
I was alive in the 80s, but I wasn't ordering pizzas yet.
It was, but the problem was their drivers were like running over people trying to get the pizza there within a half hour. It was a big liability. But I'm sorry, I digress. But you know,
No, I think, but see, that's the thing is that you can
You
clearly
still
see in that
remember it.
illustration.
40 years later.
Yeah.
when you said that, I automatically said Domino's Pizza. That didn't work well for them, but it did stick, and people bought a lot of pizza from them because I'll get it in a half hour.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's interesting too is that like there's a lot of service companies in our area, like we have Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. If on time you don't pay a dime. And it works for them because they've engineered their company. But I just want to make it clear that as I throw out this one example, that is not what I'm saying that you should do. What I'm saying is that it's a great illustration of a company who shows their customer that they value the same thing their customer does, and they stand on a platform and can sell from it differently. Now, I don't know if Domino's charged $10 a pizza more than their competitors.
No.
But if getting a pizza fat,
I don't remember that piece though, Tom.
Well,
I wouldn't swear to that.
I kind of remember when I was in college, my roommate delivered for them, so I know a lot of the details.
you know the driver's side.
It wasn't the best pizza though.
Yeah, it wasn't great pizza.
Okay. So, but actually, that wasn't their promise, was it?
No.
Now since then, I do know that Domino's reinvented themselves.
Yeah.
And my family thinks Domino's pizza is the best pizza. They love it.
It's much better now. It's not the same pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that wasn't their promise then, and they've reinvented themselves now. But that's something that I think that if we take a step back and say your customers value time, what's another way you can respect their time and show them something about time? We'll send, and I realize everyone's talking about going solo. This is probably not very popular. We'll send 10 cleaners to get a massive cleaning done in 30 minutes. You know, that would be another crazy and expensive type of service. But if you found in your market research that was important, it's another way to value people's time to say, we offer 30-minute clean, 10 hours of clean in 30 minutes, or that would be kind of ridiculous actually, but you know what I'm saying. If you can make a promise like that, your competition is not going to do it. It will remain unique. But the second part of the test of this litmus test that I'm giving you is if you're unique, the next part of a selling proposition is that it has to sell. You have to know that people care. So if you say free peanut butter and jelly sandwich with every service, we're going to drop off this we made it fresh this morning. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are our thing. And you're like really putting a bunch of energy into this. I'll just go ahead and stop you right there. Probably not going to be a big selling proposition. Very unique, very unique. But people do this all the time. They say it's our uniforms that are attracting people. That's the way we dress. Well, maybe have you done any market research to prove it? It's maybe the kinds of cars we drive or the type of vacuum we're using. I don't know, but sometimes we put a ton of energy into something that isn't a selling proposition. And maybe sometimes we engineer our businesses around something that matters so much to us, but maybe it didn't matter that much to the customer,
Right.
Yeah.
So a unique selling proposition, if it's really good, the way you know a good selling proposition is true is that typically, if you succeed at keeping that promise, the customer will be so over the moon happy that they can't see doing business with anyone other than you. Now you get bonus points if it's so good that if you keep your promise, they're that happy, but it's also so good that if you fail, they're just as happy. Let me give you what I mean by that. I used the time thing example earlier. If you show up on time and you value my time, I will be so happy. But if you fail with this guarantee that you're giving me, I get my cleaning for free. I'm still happy. You see how you can use a unique selling proposition to set yourself apart, and you can use it as an insurance policy that in those cases where you are going to make a mistake and not going to be able to deliver because your company is run by a bunch of humans that make mistakes, can you make your customer just as happy in those moments as you made otherwise? Now, it doesn't have to be a free service. It can be, any number of different things. If we're late, you get 2 free movie tickets to the local movie theater whenever they reopen, or dinner.
I can give you a couple, Kurt. So cleaning up after pets, that's something. So the things that I look for USP is look at what, like using your exact example, look at what other companies won't do. They won't. They don't do it. They tell you, I'm not going to do this. We don't do it. Pickup service. Other companies don't do that. They don't want to do that. Pick up after your pets. Clean up their waste. Other companies don't do that. They don't want to do that. Walk your pets. Not that you want to do any of these things, but they're all.
But pets have become, they are now called fur babies. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah.
Like, I've literally watched a baby come out of my wife before, and it's a little bit insulting to me. I hope I'm not hurting anyone's feelings here, but when people refer to these fur babies as if they're children, they're not children. And also, children come out with cottage cheese and nasty stuff all over them. But the point is that this is
taking an odd turn, Kurt.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that when people say my fur baby, I'm like, does your fur baby ever get super disrespectful and spit on your wife when they don't want to do their homework? Because that's different.
Wow.
Kurt, I was complimenting you earlier about your use of analogies.
That's an example, not an analogy. That's an example.
Fair enough.
But people are valuing these pets now. That what Liz is saying is that there will be certain people who won't care that you offer this special thing, but there will be some people who I think that they look at their fur babies as if they might be as high or higher than human children. So that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything for the pets is going to be a really big deal. Time is really big. Pets is really big. I had another one here. Oh, no additional fees. So most companies will charge like a lockout fee or a skip fee if you skip your service, or if you want additional work done, they have additional fees for things. So no additional fees. People love that.
There's resorts that have made a living off of all-inclusive, aren't there?
Yes.
Luggage thing. I mean, that's a big part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can move a flight whenever I want without any fees, and I can,
I love the seating. Oh my gosh, I can't get away from the seating at Southwest. I get to have an aisle seat every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna have to pay $15 for it. Win! What a win! Yeah.
Liz actually brought up a good one here. Supply clients with cleaning products. It's factored into the price of cleaning. That's actually Liz just put the other Liz just put a kind of exclamation mark at the point of this point for me, is that when you make a unique selling proposition, whatever it may be, you have to engineer in 2 things. Number 1, the process. How are we going to have these cleaning products in excess and ready to go at every cleaning? You got to engineer it in. How are we going to be on time every time? How are we going to make sure that the pet waste is properly disposed of and doesn't smell terrible, or we don't throw it in the garbage can inside, whatever. You have to engineer the process. The second thing you have to do is you have to engineer the cost. You are going to have to keep that guarantee every so often. Even if you engineer it properly, sometimes you're not going to get it done quite right. And you have to be able to charge for the part where you got to make it right, but B, and that's obviously what insurance is for in most cases, but sometimes you have to have your own insurance policy against some of these different unique selling propositions. But secondly, you deserve profit. You deserve to have an additional piece of profit. He who takes the greatest risks earns the greatest rewards. We've heard that saying. Yet I've found that some of the entrepreneurs that I know that are going out every day into this big wide world of crazy uncertainty, we go out there, we do the work, but sometimes it's like we're nervous about giving ourselves the right reward. Here's the thing. If any of you that don't see yourself as a salesperson are still listening, I know something about you. I know that part of you being a good non-salesperson is that you feel guilty about taking money that you don't deserve. So as a result, you take less money. You know that you always err on the side of less. And when you go, hey, I can't afford to go on a vacation this year, or hey, I can't afford to buy a new car even though my car is breaking down. Hey, my kids need new shoes. I'm like, oh, that's stressing me out to buy new shoes. When you have those moments, that's how you know you've erred too far to that side. You deserve, as a risk taker, as an entrepreneur in America, you deserve to live a life that's got financial benefits to it. And this is going back to engineering the product, the operational side. But when I said you got to engineer the finances of it, you need to put a dollar amount on each and every promise that you're making. And the cleaning promise is one of them. But getting there in a car is another one. And having insurance is another one. And having uniforms is another one. And the unique selling proposition is one of them. Each one of those promises you keep, you affix a profit to. What does it cost you? How much profit should you earn off of that? And the answer is never zero to any of those things. When you're financially determining your prices, every time you hand out those cleaning products, you get the price of those cleaning products, plus the fact that they didn't have to go to the store, plus the fact that they didn't have to worry about which cleaning products they were going to use in the future, because they know what they're going to work, and they know that they smell good, and they don't make them feel high when they're done. Those things all are profitable. They're equitable for the customer. They're profitable for you. You're allowed to profit off of every promise you keep. If you're going to do background checks and a background check costs you $100 or $150 or whatever it might cost to do a nice deep background check, you need to earn that $150 back and in spades with profit through the course of that cleaner's cycle. And if you don't engineer it in, you'll never earn it back. Make sense?
Yes.
That's good stuff. That is
really
good stuff.
Good stuff.
Okay. We are to the third point. We are also almost to the very end of the hour here. But if you guys will just indulge me, I want to talk about the last part. Well, wait, I didn't tie that back to closing more jobs. You will close more jobs when you have something that no one can shop, and you will close at higher prices when that thing is desirable. So number one, we talked about you're a person who fixes real problems. You're not a salesperson by virtue of the fact that you're slimy. You're a salesperson by virtue of the fact that you, in that moment, care more about the person you're selling to than yourself. Now, when they purchase from you and they do that value exchange, they give you those, Mike Dahlke calls them certificates of appreciation. $1 is a certificate of appreciation. So the number of certificates of appreciation that you get results in you being profitable. And we talked about unique selling proposition. The third thing is price anchoring, and we'll call it package pricing for just a second, but we're going to talk about something called price anchoring and price strategy. So a lot of people, when they give prices, it goes something like this. Liz, give me a call and ask me to come clean your home. We're going to role play here. You ready?
Yeah.
Ring, ring. Hello.
Hi. I'm looking to get my house cleaned.
Oh, wonderful. We do house cleaning.
Cool. When can you come?
Well, we could come next week. We have some availability. And after I just found out a bunch of stuff about your house, I can do it for $250.
Okay. I'll talk to my husband and I'll get back to you.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks for calling. That was really nice of you to call. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you. We've been in business for 10 years and we just can't wait to add you to our list of customers. Okay, bye.
So good.
So here's the thing. I don't want to have that really weird, awkward thing. So I just say a bunch of, I just tell you, okay, great. Thank you so much. I know I'm never going to talk to you again. Goodbye. We're done. Now, the thing is that in and of itself, there was nothing wrong with that phone call. I gave you probably a good, honest, fair price for some good, honest, hard work that would really make your life better. And as a value proposition, you, I'm sure, would have enjoyed that very, very much. Okay? But here's the problem. Liz, you know all about house cleaning. So that price to you meant something. Like, well, maybe it didn't, because you're like, what are you going to clean for that money? So assuming that I didn't just give you an ultimatum and tell you I will clean, we'll wipe off all your counters, vacuum and sweep all your floors, mop all the hard surfaces, and clean all your toilets and wipe out all the sinks. At that point, I would have given you an ultimatum at that price. But the problem is that a lot of us aren't engineering in the fact that A, Liz's definition of clean is different than other people's definition of clean. And Liz might not know what a cleaning normally goes for. So what happens is we do this with our customers, and what you don't realize is remember when I told you that we're not snake oil salesmen? Well, I just did exactly what a snake oil salesman does, and I did it with a good heart. But what I said was, take this thing, take this one medicine. It will make you happy. But that's not how a doctor works. A doctor says, is this your pain? Do you need arthritis medicine, or are you having headaches, or are you going into kidney failure? You know, whatever it might be. I mean, those are very different things, very different treatments. And I think that a lot of the times what happens is we give out that ultimatum, which is a yes or no answer. We say, I can clean your house and do these things for this amount of money. The answer to that question is yes or no. And by the way, when Liz said, I'm going to talk to my husband and call you back, that is no.
Right.
That is a very sweet no,
yeah.
But it's a no.
That's I'm going to call some other people and find out what their prices are.
That,
and then my husband.
And someone else will do it for $260, and I'll just do it with them because I'm on the phone with them. So what I am trying to impress upon your minds, if you want to close more jobs and you want to do it at higher average ticket prices, if you are currently offering a ultimatum, just a one service package thing. Let's see if I have a blank page here. I know I've got a blank page somewhere. Here we go. Oh, look, I already drew this out. Okay. Have you guys ever seen this graph before?
No.
Okay. This is a very important graph. Everyone take note here.
It's really fancy, though.
Yes.
I love
it yourself?
What's that?
You do that with your hand, free hand?
Yeah, with my own hands.
Wow.
That's so impressive.
With this super fancy pen.
Awesome.
So
where'd you get that pen?
So here's the thing. On this chart, we've got this continuum. This is not quantifiable. This is basically, I can be this happy or I can be that happy. And that for different people will mean different things. But the axis, oh, here we go. This is all backwards here. The axis here is very quantifiable. We all know what $10 is. We all know what $150 is, right? That's not hard. So what happens is that if you don't have a pricing strategy, what normally happens is someone calls in and they say, I would like service. And you say, we can do that service. Let's see here. For this much money, I can make you happy. And the problem with that strategy is that it all too often will end with well, let me talk it over and I'll call you back, which is a nice no. Now, there are yeses. So the problem is that people go, well, Curt, you're so dumb. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've grown a great business off of ultimatums. I give my customers ultimatums all day, and at least 50% of them take me up on it. Well, that's sometimes how flipping a coin works. But here's the thing about ultimatums is that you don't know that if you had said, for less money, I can save myself some time and I can make you pretty darn happy. All the people that said no to you because they thought that $250 was a crazy expensive price to clean their house, you had no idea that $125 would have brought them on board. Here's the craziest part of all. Now, again, the bottom axis is subjective. So this graph might look different. The people who are building this in their brain as you're telling them what you'll do for different prices, if you offer someone 3 different solutions to clean their house, yes, these dots might look different. Some things are going to make people more happy than others. I get that. Having a clean stove, for some reason, makes my wife extremely want to be alone with me, and I love it, but it's weird. I thought it would be like cologne or something, but turns out cleaning the stove is a way to make my wife extremely happy. But like for other people, maybe it's not such a big deal. Like if it was talking to me, that dot would be different. But the craziest thing is that you've been doing this the whole time. And what you didn't realize is that if you just made an option that was so much more expensive and had a few more things in it, that there might be people who are dying to give you more money that you don't even have to ask for. You just have to present it to them. We talked about salespeople earlier. No one wants to be a salesperson because it's yucky, dirty. What was the other ones? There's some great ones. High pressure. Guess what? If you just say, here's what we offer, and people love it. Now, we do have a value option, and we do have the extravagant option. What does that remind you of? Maybe every purchase experience that you've ever had. It's funny. Even when you go to Amazon, you do it to yourself. I'm looking for a printer. You narrow down about 3 printers that look like they're pretty good value. And then you pick one. You read the reviews and you pick one. Because one of those printers, even though it's more expensive, it gets you a lot further down the happiness spectrum. And now all of a sudden, you're in a situation where customers aren't being asked yes or no. You're asking them this simple question. Which of these is the level of clean you were looking for? Well, I was looking for that one. When were you hoping to have the work performed by? This weekend. Okay, let me put you in the schedule. I mean, I just closed you, and all I did was just ask you. I presented you, and I asked you. Those weren't a yes or no question. Those were a either or, and it allowed the customer to downsell themselves, upsell themselves. Frankly, if you mix it up just right, they could even be cross-selling themselves against other services. So here's your house cleaning service, one of these options. And by the way, if you do this service, you qualify for 25% off of a different service that you didn't even ask me about. And they're like, oh, heck yes, right? And I wasn't selling you. I was just letting you know about something that we did, because as a person who's had negative experiences, and I would love to someday tell you all about my Kirby vacuum cleaner experience that was almost sabotaged my 3-year marriage. We'll talk about that another time. But I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to ruin marriages. But I do love the idea of engineering value, because remember what we said earlier, we sell value, not cleaning the thing. We sell value. I love the idea of engineering that value into a continuum that, yeah, it might be interpreted by people in different ways as far as what will make them happy. But guess what you will find? More often than not, people are more than happy to part with their money when you offer them something that creates that happiness inside of them, aka value, and they say, I'll take that. And when I did that in my window cleaning company, all I said was, we offer window cleaning. We'd go out and we'd give people quotes for window cleaning all the time. And then I said, you know what? We should offer a window cleaning that doesn't include screens, because I know I love it, but I know a lot of customers are constantly asking me, do I have to get my screens cleaned? Can I get it done cheaper without it? Well, okay, fine. And then I said, by the way, did you know we offer house washing too? We pressure wash homes. No one ever bought pressure washing from us, hardly ever. We're in Arizona. We don't have any mold. It's just dust and spiders and stuff. So I thought no one cares about pressure washing. Lo and behold, one job every day, basically, from the time I sold my business, we did one job that included a house wash. Why? Well, apparently people wanted it more than I thought. And apparently when it's put next to window cleaning and they go, wow, giving my house a bath before I wash my windows seems like a pretty good idea. And guess what? We made a lot more money at every job we stopped at. And we closed more jobs because people would say, wow, none of the other window cleaners offered us that. So that's just an example of something that we did. But if you come in and say, I'm the doctor, tell me where it hurts. Ooh, that's the package that probably is going to... People like you tend to look at stuff like this. Now, if you ever have pain in your back, this is something to consider, right? I mean, I'm using an analogy, but you know what I'm saying. So if a customer, if you have problems with dust and cobwebs all over your house, you know, the middle one will do what you asked me to do. But if you wanted to get rid of all the cobwebs first, this is a great option for people like that.
Oh, so one other really quick thing, because I know that we are out of time here, that I wanted to point out. Sometimes people will pick that middle option. That's by far going to be the most popular option. But even when they pick that option, they now have this bigger option weighing on them, like calling to them, reminding them all the time that this other better thing is out there. And so at some point in time, they're probably going to check out this bigger option. And it's also, in my experience, because I have 3 levels of service, when they take that middle level, if I make a huge mistake, I always have someplace to go. You know what? I think you would just prefer our better service. I think this was just a miscommunication here. So, I mean, there are lots of ways to use that that third thing too.
That last up package, a lot of times all it can do is serve to position your company. Don't ever forget that too. Sometimes it can be a package that you don't even intend to sell. All it does is it says, here's a company that's capable of this. Boy, oh boy, if I can get this at any company, why don't I just get it from the company that, if they can do that, boy, can you imagine what kind of job?
Do this.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come back again, Curt. I mean, that's just, sorry, we're not done.
Once I get going, I'm like, oh my gosh,
The job is not done. But I am sorry. I hate to say it, but we are out of time and a little bit more. So we're gonna have to call it a day. But real quick, Cleaning Business Today, subscribe, email, first name, last name, really, really easy. I'll take the link to, and I'm going to go back to Marty. I didn't get my videos that we talked about yesterday, but I'm going to track those down. We're going to get those in there. And if you want to know more about Curt's business, Responsibid, and I bet you there's a lot of information on this website that kind of expands upon the things that he's talking about here.
Curt, do you want to send us a picture of that fancy diagram that we could put a link?
Yeah, really.
Oh, well, I can do autograph versions of it, but I'd just be nervous about this original circulating too much,
Well, I can't blame you for that. Yeah.
I'll get it to you. Yeah.
And, does your wife watch these live streams you do?
No, I think she gets enough of me every night, between 5 and 10 p.m.
Understand.
Her show is the extended version.
Understand. Okay, well, guys, thank you for hanging in there with us. We had a good crowd today. Appreciate everybody being here. Curt, thank you. Thanks a ton. This is good stuff. You guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.